Hello, welcome to this session today. I'm just checking everything is working. I'm having a little look around. Yep, sound is working, that's good. Standing up today because I'm going to be doing this talk in a real live conference. Wow, how exciting. So I thought I'd better practice standing up and talking because usually I'm sitting down. Does that make a difference? Who knows? Right, I'm just going to go and switch that off. Wait for a few people to join and then we'll start. Make yourself comfortable. I'm just going to go get some water. Hear me crashing about. Here we go. Okay, right. I think we will begin. Right, okay. What is this about? Thank you for joining. This is all about how do we move through change. And it's something that I've been exploring for about a year. Obviously, Another Door is all about change, but we've been very specifically working with people who might have lost their jobs or want to career change and observing, what process they go through, what moments they go through to get those shifts, to get them to a place to feel like they're owning their next move. And that's our whole goal. So it got me thinking about larger organisational change, and that's what I do for a day job. I'm a communications and change consultant, and I work with organisations who are going through big transformation or could be small changes in the workplace and how to help people through it. Now usually when I join as a project into a project, it's all about crafting the messages. So as a communication consultant, I would be crafting the messages. I'd be thinking about the vision, the leadership messaging, maybe some interventions like a conference, like listening sessions, all of that good stuff that we do. I'm probably working with the learning team to put some interventions in there and the change program team. All of this stuff is good stuff. And I really enjoyed working on it, but I always felt like there was something missing. Always felt like we were just processing employees, and to a degree it is. Change is helping people through this process, but really it's the organisational program process. It's not the individual experience. So this is where I started to look at, okay, how can organisations help individuals to work through change? Because that's the missing bit. If you think about how change programs maybe come about, maybe the leadership team has gone off-site, when those were the days. They've had some months of secret planning and brainstorms and chucking around ideas, and they really understand what this change means, why it's needed, and now they just need good old comms person like myself or whoever it is to come in, craft it, and then tell everyone, right, this is it. This is the vision. And what happens is people suddenly go, whoa, where's this come from? What's going on here? And they have lots of questions. So then what do? We put on lots of Q&As. Okay, listening sessions, briefing sessions, Q&A, all good. But that's not what's happening. As an individual, when you're understanding, okay, change is happening around me, you're now trying to think, okay, where am I fitting in? And instantly you're protecting yourself as just a reaction, as a human. So sometimes you don't hear all the messages, sometimes you can't see the opportunity. And this is where there's a gap. People are trying to catch up with the thinking. The leaders are over here, they get it. Why isn't everyone following us? It's obvious. People are trying to process. People want to understand themselves, what it means for them and where they are in their life. And we all process things very differently. So this is where this work has come from, is trying to understand, well, how do individuals help themselves through change? So that's the first thing. The second thing is, I think we do move through change all the time. So this program explores that. It explores, well, do we cope with change? Is coping the thing we're doing all the time? Surviving it, a thing that happens? Or is it actually all around us? And the third thing, I guess, is actually we all do it differently. Change can sometimes be huge for a person. It will feel like huge trauma, or it will feel like huge risk. But to another person, they'll think, oh, I don't know, I'll just get on with it. So again, it's the way we translate and what does change mean to us. So this is where these foundations have come from, and we've developed this experience to help people help themselves when they're going through change. Right, I'm going to get on with it. I'm going to share some slides. I'm going to go quite quickly. Now, the way that this process works, I will just go through the slides, probably half an hour talking. If you have any questions, just drop them in the comments and I'll see them at the end. I'd love to know your thoughts as we go through it. Let me just get on screen. There we go. This is always the nervous bit, isn't it? You know, is this going to actually work? I wonder what that's going to feel like when you start talking on stage. You know that bit where you got the clicker and you click and then it's like, oh no, it's not working. Yeah, I suppose it's the same thing, isn't it? We're all used to it, each other now, aren't we? Right, how to move through change. Okay, so what Another Door has done, what we've created, is very similar to the 5 steps to thrive after losing your job. We've created framework of questions that provoke your thinking. So this isn't really a how-to. It's not like just use these 3 steps and you'll be fine. It's actually a framework. And a framework that provokes your thinking, creates space for you to translate what it means to you. So you got to do the work. That's where the magic happens. It's got to be your version. No one can tell you how to do change. Five steps. I love 5 steps. I think it makes things feel manageable. So all Another Door experiences are 5 steps. I feel like when you feel like you're moving through something, that's progress, however slow. But as you can see here, it's circular because it doesn't stop. So the 5 steps that we move through all the time are acknowledge, react, process, explore and choose. Now this is a whole day's work. It's probably a week's work because I've put so much into this, and what we do is we curate the best of the best. I read all of the experts that talk about this. I listen to their webinars. I gather it all up. I do all the work for you basically, and then I try and simplify the best I can, make it so simple that all you need to do is work through and create space to think. So that's what these 5 steps are. And we're going to go through them really quickly today to see if it just provokes thinking. So clear your mind of any expectation and just go with this and see where it takes you. We move through change every day. I think that's the biggest thing I really wanted to get across. We don't need to fear change because it's with us all the time. You have no idea what's going to happen tomorrow. And that could be terrifying thought, but it also could be very liberating. We might have a schedule. We might be like, oh yeah, drop off at school, we have dinner at a certain time, we do X, Y, Z, we have meetings, all of that stuff. But does that happen? Do we get curveballs? Do new things come along? Yes. So actually, we've already got the skills to move through change because we're doing it every day. Change gets dialed up and dialed down in our life. So sometimes it just simmers away in the background. What we think is going to happen tomorrow actually does happen. Everything runs to plan. Our diary does not get changed, it doesn't get taken over, just everything runs smoothly. It's simmering, it's dialed down, it's just moving away. But there is elements of change. There's things when you have to stop and think. I mean, even just getting up and thinking, well, what do I wear? It's a change process, you could argue. That's the other point I want to get across about another door in this experience. I don't feel like our work is like the answer. I feel like our work is the framework to open up your thinking and then tell your version of it. So already I've been posting about this on LinkedIn and already people have been sharing their versions, and I love that. I think that this is what this is about. We can learn from each other. Some people hate the word change. So already we're on a back foot. So it's all about your version and this space to help you get there. And when it gets dialed up, what does that look like for you? Dialed up could be, you know, those days when you have had a beautiful diary, this is what's going to happen, and then suddenly something comes in. And everything's like, oh, God, I didn't see that coming. Okay, that's dialed up. Could be organisational change, restructures, job changes, bosses leaving. Could be life changes. Who knows what you got on? Dialed up is your version, dialed down is your version. So the important bit in all of this is knowing who you are, how you are, and how you want to be. When things get dialed up, who are you? When the heat comes on, who are you? And who do you want to be? That's where the work starts. Be sharing some of this stuff as we go through, but you know, sitting there in an organisational change communications briefing, they're telling you all about this new vision they've got for the organisation, where we're going to go, how exciting it's going to be. Picture yourself there. Who were you in that audience? Were you someone open? Okay, yeah, we need change. All right, I'm ready to listen. Were you someone fearing? Oh my goodness, I liked the way things were going, this is scary. Were you not bothered? You couldn't care less, just wanted to get home? Who were you? And now think about, who do you really want to be in that situation? Because that's the bit we control. We control who we are. And ultimately the goal is we want to own the change that's happening to us, because it's not happening to us. It's us responding to it. So own the change in your world. You can own how you're responding. And this is what we explore. So, a few principles. And this might take time to absorb, because this does take time. Some people are just too busy to invest in this. But unfortunately, they're the busy ones are in danger of overwhelm, burnout, just not enjoying themselves. Get home every night thinking, oh my goodness, what was that? What am I doing? So the challenge is, ask yourself better questions all the time. Give yourself time to think. Being productive is also about not doing things as much as doing things. We know that. We know that half of the things that you perhaps have done today at work, you could have done better if you've given yourself a bit of time to think, deeper time to think. But quite often we're in do mode because we think that that's the way to do it. But giving yourself permission to think and knowing that that's part of being more productive and more effective is the key to a shift. And the final thing is to know that you don't have to know anything. You don't have to have all the answers. In fact, it's good to have blank pages. When you're going through change, Blank pages are good because it means you're coming open. You're coming without judgment. So don't feel like you have to have answers. All right, let's get stuck in to the 5 circles, how we move through. So the first one, acknowledge. A moment of knowing. So the first thing, it sounds so obvious. Change is happening. What do? Acknowledge it. It sounds obvious, but how many times do we not do it? We just go on autopilot and we just muddle through, or we just accept various things. We don't even think about them in any detail. They just are, and they just become us. So acknowledge is all about really thinking about what is changing. The deeper question. So when organisations are changing, sit with that question. What is really changing? Okay, they're changing the process. They're changing your boss. They're changing some of your role. Fine, that's all sort of headline. But go deeper. What does that mean for you? What is changing? The way that you work? The way that you feel about things? What is the deeper implication of the change? And what is the scale of change? We talked before about dialing up and dialing down. Is there a huge scale of change for you? And again, what is it? Go deeper than just the surface. When organisations restructure, quite often, it's just, oh, well, you're doing this job and now you're doing that. Done. But what is the scale? You might be losing things that you loved. You might be losing your team. You might be losing some of the work you enjoyed. Could be losing customers that you enjoyed working with. And how deeper impact is that on you? Where does that leave you? What's the scale of change for you? So where are you at with this? Naming your emotion when change starts to happen, when it starts to dial up, pausing and thinking, right, where am I at? Naming it and labeling it really helps. So you can start thinking, okay, how am I feeling about this? Am I excited? Am I nervous? Am I dreading this? Label it. 3 simple questions, but go deeper than perhaps you've usually gone before. We all know the change curve, do we? I don't know. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross did this beautiful change curve all about actually grief, but now it's used in change management. And it kind of helps, you know. Change comes along, dialed up change comes along, we could be in shock, could go through denial, we go through frustration. Then we go through a kind of lull. I can't see it here. It says is depression or the low. And then we start coming out of it. Experimenting maybe, making decisions. It's a great curve. It helps to know that there's progress. We've kind of designed our circular on some of this. But actually, I throw in a challenge. And actually, some of Elizabeth's work throws in the same challenge. The curveball curve actually looks like this. You can feel all sorts of different things. Because again, it depends who you are. The scale, the change, whatever's going on for you. Impacts around you. And this is actually more what it feels like. I'm hopeful, I'm worried, I'm excited, I'm blank, I'm confused. This could be an hour of your life, could be a day of your life, could be a week of your life. And this is why it's important to keep checking in. Where am I at? Where am I operating from? Because on a bad day, if you're in this kind of sad, worried space, on a bad day, you bring that to work. It could really alter things. If you're a team manager and you're bringing worried into the day, it could really change a lot of people's lives by you projecting your worry. But actually then you could be working through it and thinking, oh no, I'm okay actually. But now you've got everyone else worried. So checking in with where you're at, how it's showing up for you, how you're projecting it, how you're using it, how you're dealing with it is really important. That's where I always say 10-minute check-in every day. Where am I at today? Am I okay today? So the first step is all about acknowledgement, where you're at, how you're feeling, what does it mean to you? And then that gets us into react. How do you react to change? A feeling, a response. It's building on this awareness of you and how you are. So, how do you react to change? Think about the last big thing that happened in your life, big change that happened. Think about how you behaved, how you reacted, how you responded. Are you the person that panics? Are you the person that helps? Are you the person that solves the problem? Are you the person that stays calm? Are you the person that's not sure what to do? How do you react when change gets dialed up? Think about where you're at right now if change is happening. How are you reacting? And I talk about reacting because at the moment it is just a reaction. Probably not consciously thinking about it too much. You're probably not getting up thinking, right, today I need to be this X, Y, Z. This is where we shift through in this process. So you do feel like you're more in control of what you're doing. I will put my hand up. I've probably been in many situations where I've gone to a briefing or gone to a team meeting and they've shared some news and it's come from the sideline and you think, whoa, where did that come from? And you react. Wow, what's this about? I didn't know about this. I'm outraged. What about this? What about that? You dive straight into all the problems with it. Maybe I'm just describing me there. How do you react? And then the next good question, ask better questions, is what do you need to do? What do you need right now? You might think, right, I do need a bit of time to think about this. I need more information on a certain thing. I need to understand something, but it might be time. I might just need to let things unravel a little bit. What do you need? And what are you observing? Look around what's going on as well. Quite often we miss things because we're busy reacting from our place, our position, and we miss what's going on around us. So observe. Look at the environment and look at what's happening and look at your place. Are people coming to you to talk about change? Are you going to others to talk? Is there groupthink happening? Is there little collectives of those who are for the change, those who are anti-change, those who will just argue with everything, those people who will just accept everything? What's going on? Observe it. So let's just take a little bit of a look of reacting to change. 3 pictures. This is our version. You have to tell your version of how you react to change. Use your words. But now I would really ask you to write it down. How do you react to change? You're in denial, maybe. You're the one that jumps up out of the sea and says, hey, I'm here, okay, I'm ready. I think that's what our little whale is meant to be doing. Is a whale? Yes. Or are you just kind of like the dog and the cat, just kind of, okay, I'm just going to sit here, watch what's going on. This just provokes your thinking, but it's good to label how you react to change. Know how you do and how you want to be in future. Because we want to move from being in defense, where you see all the problems, you're protecting yourself, you're putting up lots and lots of barriers, you're finding blame, you're finding excuses. We want to move into considered approach so you're in control and you get more out of it as you move through the change. That's where we want to get to. So knowing where you're at now, knowing how you deal with change, can help you move into this more considered approach. And considered will definitely help you get what you need from change. That brings us to the 3rd step, process. How are you processing this? How are you understanding it? How are you finding meaning? Are you even doing that work? Or are you letting it happen to you? Process is really giving time and space to understand what it means for you. And that means bigger things. Like, is there a status thing going on? Is there an ego thing coming at play for you? Is there a disappointment? What does it mean for you? Does it mean promotion? Is there opportunity? If there's restructures coming along, what's it meaning? Does it go against your values? This is where getting to know yourself, that very first thing that we talked about, really helps, because if change is coming and it's starting to go against your values, you have to know that and own it. I see a lot of people and they just sit in the excuse and they kind of get wrapped up in it. You know, they sit in an organisation that they no longer can feel attached to, and they're just quite happy to sit and wallow now. Bring everyone else into their kind of mud pit to slosh about and go, wow, this is a load of rubbish, isn't it? You've got to own this. You don't want to be in the mud pit. Well, maybe some people want to be in the mud, not happy in the mud. But you don't want to be in that space. You want to be owning what you're doing. You want to be enjoying every day and trying to add value every day and feeling like you're contributing every day. That's where you want to get to. So what does it mean for you, that what's going on? Where's your head at because of that? Check in with where you're putting your energy. Are you getting involved in the moaning and the groaning? Are you thinking of ideas? Do you want to be heard? Are you finding things frustrating? Slowing it all down to start prioritizing what really matters to you right now will really help you to know where to put your energy. There may be one or two things that you feel really, really important, that you do want to fight for, you do want to be heard. And then maybe other things that actually you just need to let go. I remember going through a huge organisational change a few years ago, and the CEO at the time was going through a merger, and the CEO said, we've got to choose our battles. We cannot fight all of these battles. We'll be exhausted and we're not going to win. So we need to choose the 3 things that matter the most, that we must protect, or at least feel like we're being heard on. And I think that was brilliant advice for you as an individual. What are the things that really, really matter to you, that you want to be heard or you need from this change? That's where you put your energy. And it might mean you have to let go of other things. None of this is easy. It takes hard work. It takes inner work, because you can't just keep falling on excuses and blaming others. It means you have to own what you're doing and really think about what you're doing and how you're moving through this. That's why mindset matters. This thing about fixed and growth mindset. If you haven't read it or you haven't watched it, Carol Dweck's book and her TED Talk is brilliant. Look it up on YouTube. Really helps to make us understand where we're at. When we're in a growth mindset, we could probably see maybe opportunities that maybe we wouldn't have seen before. We're open to things. We can kind of say, okay, I don't know, but I can learn. I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to try and understand what this means. I'm going to be open to this. Fixed mindset means you're just in there, not me, I'm awful, this is all awful, I'm frustrated, it's everyone else's fault. So working on your mindset and how you work through that can really help you shift. It's all about energy, where you're putting your energy. Have a think about it now. Are you putting your energy into things that make a difference for you? This is not about the organisation. It's about you. The reason why it has to be about you is because you will be better connected to the organisation if you've done the work on yourself. You're just going to be grumpy and not loving life if you don't do the work and understand where you fit into things. So where are you putting your energy? If you're going home every night thinking, this is awful, I don't want to be here anymore, maybe it's time to take action. That brings us to explore the 4th step, opening up to possibility. Okay, we've done the work, we're working through, we're taking more ownership, we're becoming more aware of ourselves as we work through it. Now what? This is where disruption and ideas come into it. And if you remained open, this would be where you can start seeing, okay, maybe I could help on that. Maybe I could work with that team on something. Maybe I could get a promotion from this. Maybe I could do some different work I've always loved. Maybe there is a chance for me to make this a good thing. Ownership, ownership, ownership. Explore it. Get a bit uncomfortable. Moving through change is not always about being comfortable. It's about knowing that being uncomfortable can sometimes rustle up the best things in your mind. And you just have those moments of clarity and think, oh, that's what I need to do next. And reframing things that are coming up so that you can see it from a different perspective. It will really help you to have a different relationship with what's happening. Observe yourself in that meeting, your team meeting. Who are you in that meeting? Reframe the situation. Okay, if someone's struggling, if someone hasn't managed to land exactly the change that's needed, or they're struggling to explain what's happening, can you help them? Rather be that person that's criticising on the edge. You know, as Brené Brown says, are you in the audience or are you on the pitch? Reframe situations so that you can actually step onto the pitch and help not just yourself, but maybe others as well. Always keep asking what if, looking for possibilities. What if this could be a good thing? What if this is an opportunity? What if this is when I actually change everything I'm doing in my life? It could be. We talked a bit about being uncomfortable. It's probably worth saying, try and stay out of stress zone. Not just try, do stay out of stress zone. Being uncomfortable is not being stressed. It's about stretching yourself. It's about getting curious, maybe asking questions, maybe just feeling a little bit out of comfort zone, but not putting yourself in a stress zone where it feels so awful, you're just miserable. Getting open to ideas and asking questions and talking to others in that way, in that space, can help keep you in stretch. If you feel yourself tipping into stress, you have to put corrective things in place to help you to reset. Because all that's going to do is keep evolving and evolving, and it's not going to turn out good for you. So just be aware of the ripples of comfort zone, uncomfortable zone, into stretch and stress. Think of where you're at in that ripple. And if you're feeling like you're in the stress, pull it back. What can you let go of? What is consuming your mind that actually you're not controlling? So why are you thinking about it? Move yourself back into stretch, into comfort for a while. And maybe it's a time to ask yourself the question, why do you do the things you do? That sometimes can help you in these moments of pressure. Just to stop, time out. Why am I doing this? Remind yourself again. What do I want from this? What am I taking from it? Pause and think about it. It's that good old Ikigai. If you've not come across Ikigai, highly recommend it. Brilliant book, brilliant concept, all around why am I doing what I'm doing. And in times of change, it's good to think about where you're at in these circles. The 4 circles of you do something because you love it, or the world needs it, or you get paid for it, or you're good at it. That's why you're doing something. And it could be a combination of 1 or 2 or 3 of those things. It could be a combination of all 4. Ikigai is the sweet spot in the middle, where you are doing something you're good at, you love it, you get paid for it, and the world needs it. Now, by the world needs it, it doesn't mean that you're, radically changing the whole world and gone to work for, some charity or something. It doesn't mean that. It just means it's needed. You're making an impact on community or person. It's your version of world. And you can see when things get overlapped, you might be good at something and you get paid for it, then you're doing it as a profession. You're good at it and you love it, you're doing it as a passion. You love something and the world needs it, you're doing it as a mission. And you get paid for something and the world needs it, it could be a vocation. Just understanding why you're doing what you're doing right now can help you to place yourself in this change And is that what you want to keep getting from this? Or do you want some things to change? Maybe now is the moment to step into different circles, bring some other circles in, maybe. Or is now the time to hold on to something? Say, right, this is why I'm doing this. I have to be in this space. So, choices. It is all about choices. Stick, twist, bust. That's what we're using another door. The choices you have are to stick to what you do, but upgrade. That's where we want to get to. We want to make change a good thing for you. You can twist, you can stick to what you do, but twist how you do it. You know, there's job crafting, which is amazing. Look up job crafting. You can have a different relationship with your job. It's not always about leaving what you're doing. It's about changing how you do it, how you have a relationship with your role, with your organization. Or is it time to bust? Do something completely different. Maybe one of the projects have got a role that you'd love to do. Step forward. Now's the moment to say, could I do this? Or is it time to leave? The point is, we're trying to get to a space of you owning exactly what you're doing and you know why. You're choosing. You're taking ownership. Decisions aren't easy, but small steps are. Small things that you can do to go exploring, to maybe just run an idea past someone, see where it goes. But the point is, you know that you have got choices. Everyone has choices. So you need to own what happens next. Think about the decisions you need to take. Maybe there's a decision on your mind right now. If there was one decision you could take today that would really help you to feel different about tomorrow, what would that be? What's holding you back from taking the decision? What do you need to help you decide? What's the fear? Explore it, and then you might be getting closer to knowing what's next. Small steps, big strides. That's your job right now. Your job right now is to look after yourself, to take small steps, to just find out as much as you can where you're at, what you want to do. That's your job in change. You can go to the briefings, you can read the articles on the internet, you can ask questions to the leadership sessions, you can do all of that. But your job is just keeping yourself okay right now. Because then you can be open. You're not getting clouded by overwhelm. So making small changes, small maybe shifts in habits. Great book, BJ Fogg, Tiny Habits, Tiny Shifts. The role of just changing things slowly but surely when things are changing for you can really help. You can get to this time next year and look back and think, wow, look what I did. And this is about asking yourself how you want to be. We mentioned it before, that quite often it's not about just what's being done to you, and it's not about what you're doing, it's about how you want to be. Who do you want to be as someone going through change? You want to feel in control. You want to feel calm. You want to feel like you know as much as you can, and you know that you trust yourself. Ask yourself that question. Sit with that question for about 10 minutes. See what comes up. How do you want to be? Get to know yourself better. What help do you need? What are your beliefs? What's the values? What are your strengths? Where do you rise? Where do you fall? How are you helping yourself? Quite often when I talk about this to people, they'll say, yeah, I'm my own worst enemy. That comes up a lot. I think we all say that at some point. What does that mean? It can be so frustrating being in that place of being your own worst enemy. So what do you want the future to look like, and how are you going to help yourself get there? Because there's only one person that can help you, and that's you. Those are the 5 steps. As I said, I have gone through them so quickly. But you can see how just asking yourself questions slowly and moving through and acknowledging that you are part of this, and how you're responding to what's going on is actually what's making your world. Your world is not being created by a leader standing at the front of a conference telling you this is the vision. That is not how your world is being created. Your world is being created by you responding to change, how you're reacting, how you're processing it, if you're giving yourself time to explore, and then what you choose. So the point of our 5 steps, how to move through change. So you move from the feeling of being done to, the feeling of fear of change, to knowing that actually it's fine. Whatever comes my way, I will work through it. I will get help when I need it. I will ask the questions and I will own it, and I'll keep going through this process so that I feel like I'm getting more out of life. I said that I was going to whiz through that very quickly. I hope it's provoked you. I hope it's got you thinking about change in a different way. Our Another Door experience is working with organisations to bring in this process. It's an online process. It's a 5-week process where your employees will get a question every day, nice and gentle, and there's modules to work through. Again, it's probably half an hour of their time. If they want, it's maybe 10 minutes. They just sit with the question. But it makes a real difference to how they are processing the change around them, because it's their space. It's them doing the thinking for them. And then they can come to team meetings, they can come to Q&As with better questions. Things they need to know to help them move on, things they need to know the organisation might need to know. Responding from a space of being considered rather than defensive. So, we're excited to work with organisations going through huge change, working on these processes. We do help with the messaging if that's what's needed, but usually we just work with the change teams that are already in place, and we put this process that just runs beautifully alongside it. We do workshops to help bring this alive if it's needed, and we can do coaching with individuals one-to-one again if it's needed, if somebody just needs a bit more help. Thank you so much for watching. If you've got any comments, either leave it here or drop us a note on hello@anotherdoor.co.uk. I would love to hear from you, and if your team or organisation are going through change and you want to work with us on this, again, drop us a note. We'd love to hear from you and we'd love to work with you, maybe even face to face. As I say, face to face is back, and we're doing a few more workshops now, which is great, but most of our work is online. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.